Yo, 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 it's the kid, 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 double H. Guys, look, man, this is the rap audio thing podcast. We don't have a name. So the name that you may see is tentatively because we have not agreed on the name of this super rap group. So, but it is what it is. You guys have obviously really wanted a rap podcast audio thing and everything. So I thought, you know what? This is a series of breaking down classic rap albums where we take our personal bias out of it. What are considered the classic rap albums within the industry? Because I think that's the best way to do it, because then I want this to really promote the debates and some disagreements, because there are a lot of classic rap albums that I don't feel should be called classics myself. So, but we'll definitely get there. But I thought, let's start off first with a rap album that I think almost universally, I don't think I've ever met anybody who doesn't consider this a classic rap album or one of the best rap albums of all time. And of course, it is ILLMATIC by Mr. Nas, aka Nasir Jones. Now, before we start, let me just introduce my panel. You got your boy, Danny T. Yo.
What's up, what's up, what's up?
And big man, I'm sure you've heard him before, Mr. Tosa himself.
How's it doing, man? Pleasure to be here. Pleasure.
Yo. So before we start, because it's something I need to know, and people have been saying different things. What was Nas's age precisely when he made this album?
It varies.
I've heard 18, I've heard 19, I've heard 20.
It varied.
Well, his first recording was at 17, right? So he actually hooked up with Large Professor, who was a producer outside of Queens and was one of his homeboys. Like, Nas's actual first name, though, as a rapper, was Kid Wave. So, like, he used to just go up to his friend's crib. He lived just like a level up above from him, and he would just they would just sample out cassettes. They'd have their cassette tapes. They like pause here, like, and Nas would just spit over like different loops and stuff, like things like that. So that was the beginning.
Like, I want to know, because so this came out in '94.
Yeah.
So I just need to know how old he was, 93/94, because obviously he wrote this around 93 and 94. So I just want to know what was his age in that period.
He was 19. He was 20 when Illmatic dropped.
Yes,
when it went into the streets, he was 20. But he'd been recording since he was 17. The first single off of Illmatic was Halftime, and that dropped in 1992.
Oh, okay.
2 years before Illmatic. So I think that album was on this movie called Zebrahead. It's kind of like a Jungle Fever, like a flea market Jungle Fever. It stars Michael Rappaport.
Oh yeah. Okay, so Danny, so do you have the age?
He was 19 when the album dropped.
Okay, all right.
He was born in September 1973, and the album came out April 19th, 1994. So his birthday hadn't quite hit 20, so he was still a teenager.
So
but 94 minus 73, that's 21.
Is it?
Yeah.
So he was born in 73.
Bro, yeah. I told you I'm an English major. I can't do math, so
he was
no math. I got a degree from my university with one college class.
When this guy was in 1994,
20.
Age was Nas in 94?
20. He was 20.
20.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. So basically, just to start off on the jump off here, I think two things I want to start off with this album is it is quite shocking the level of density and complexity of the content for a 20-year-old, and quality and consistency of production. Now, a theme that's going to be on this series, I believe, is going to be about production. The key to really good rap production is it's not about you, it's about the rapper. If the production takes over the track, you've messed up. Okay, yes, well done. Look at how amazing your stuff is with the pianos, the cellos, and everything, but I can't hear the rapper. The rapper is just trying to keep up with your production. The beauty of this is The production is quality, and it is complex, and it does have a personality, but it never ever takes over the rapper. And you can hear Nas, and the rapper controls the track. The track doesn't control the rapper. So just even listening all the way through, I was like, man, this is some damn good production. But it doesn't take over the song. Nas is still fully hearing it, because I cannot name you the amount of quality rappers whose albums have pretty much been destroyed because the production is too complicated and takes over the actual rapper.
You could look at other Nas albums for that exact same thing. Like Nas is a victim of this himself, but it just so happens his first album was like a 10 out of 10.
I mean, before we go into detail, just basically, I just want to just get your overall thoughts about the album, just in very general. So basically, back to front, overall thoughts. So, Danny T, overall thoughts on the album.
It's a classic album. I mean, as you said at the top, I've never heard anyone. Well, tell a lie. I have heard some people claim Illmatic isn't shit, but that's because they were born like post 1999.
They're losers.
They don't really know anything about hip hop in that way, like Kodak Black listeners and stuff like that. So I don't really take what they say seriously. If you're gonna listen like Lil Skies and Young Peep and whatever, Young Peep, Lil Peep.
No, please don't bring those guys in. Please don't. Please don't.
Yeah, like I don't take your opinions on hip hop seriously at all. So no disrespect to anybody who's of age that's gonna listen to this, but like I don't take you serious. So I've never heard anyone whose opinion that I care about say a bad word about Illmatic. There's like one bad track in there. But other than that,
it's not a bad track. I don't like that word bad. It's just not as strong as the ridiculous quality that's the benchmark that has been set. But sorry,
okay. There was one skippable track in my mind.
Okay. Let him have his flair. Let him have his say.
And I'm sure if we go like track through track, we'll get there. But other than that, it's a flawless album. And I would rate it, if we're gonna do like a rating system, 10 out of 10, easy.
10 out of 10.
Perfect album.
Okay. All right, Tosin. Overall thoughts on the album.
Oh man, I don't even know where to begin. Real talk.
No. But basically, don't go to just very general. Let's say you've just listened to the album back to front. General overall thoughts. Like let's say you're reviewing it, like sound bites that you would put like on a album review or something, of just to encapsulate the whole thing.
Illmatic is just life, man. Like it's a code for change in hip hop. You know, it's like, because you know how artists say these things often that they want their record to be short, they want their guest appearance list to be shorter. You know, they want their project to have like this unified sound. Like just all that just they want it to go like against the status quo and not have those, you know, that one dance song, that one love song, that one compartmentalized song, like,
basically track 18 that features everybody. Yeah,
exactly, like, or just some meaningless posse cut that no one ever wants to get back to. So yeah, it's just the whole thing. Like I actually have a story about this album, man, like real talk. So I think it was 2012. I was still in high school. I was in the 11th grade, and we went to New York back in 2012 for a Model United Nations conference. So that's just like where you act like some delegate from a certain country. I was in Iran, so like.
Do you have nuclear weapons? No.
Exactly. Like I was at this thing called the Security Council. We did like a range of topics and all that, but on one of those days, like when we were away from that, we had like a meeting, right? But that MUN thing is just boring, man. It's like I don't know, man. Like it's just boring. But moving on, like we were allowed these chaperoned walks with one of our teachers, where we could go to pretty much anywhere in the 5 boroughs. So we hit up this place. It was 2nd Ave, right up on 96th Street, and I was totally smacked on wax, and I had the Illmatic album right in my iPod. And by the time we were past Lexington and Roosevelt, I decided to just turn on the album. And man, let me tell you, dog, when NY State of Mind came on, I was in a trance. It was like I don't know. It's like I just felt New York. I felt the city. I don't know how. I just can't explain it. It's like a movie. Like your favorite rappers, they spit movies. It's like while you're in it, it's like you're in the middle of like a detail-oriented Scorsese type flick, man. Like just from when you're walking. Oh no, just like when you're walking out of the subway into downtown, and then you hear Nas straight out the fucking dungeons of rap. You're just like, man, this is New York. This album is New York.
So, like, did you ask your chaperone? Did you say like, can we go Queensbridge?
I wanted to, but nah, we couldn't. We were near downtown Brooklyn. But yeah, that's really.
But I mean, just on that point, even so, I think that's actually it's a good way to start. Let's just do this track by track. And what you said about it's feeling like New York, because I actually wanted to start off with New York State of Mind, but I actually think we should start with the Genesis, which isn't
it is the first track. It is the first track, so that would be a good place to start.
What?
Okay.
Wait, what do you say?
I said it's the first. It's number one. So why wouldn't we start there?
Yeah. Let's go with that. Yeah, let's start.
Because I read that Nas
like
wanted this album, as Tosin alludes to, an experience. He wanted it to feel like New York. So when the album comes on, at first you hear in the background his verse from Live at the Barbecue, which was like his first smash on. I'm forgetting the Large Professor group. What's the name of the Large Professor group?
Is it Main Source?
Main Source.
Yeah.
So yeah, you hear that, and then you hear like the subway running, and you just kind of get that vibe of New York, and then you get like his niggas just kind of talking back and forth. Hey yo, take the clip out, like just little things like that. It just feels like New York at first, and then you get into New York State of Mind.
Yeah, don't forget that.
That's why like it sets the tone of what the album is about, because when you just hear that, obviously him from a previous record, not from this album, and you now hear the train running and everything, just the vibe that he has, and what's it called? Basically, I don't know what film it's from. You know, you should have won a medal for this or something.
That's Wild. That's Wild Style. That's the movie, Wild Style.
Yeah. So basically, the way he just put that in is like, okay, I'm taking you on a specific journey, but before I even give you any bars, I've got to set the tone. And I just think that whole thing of being on the subway, very New York, very gritty, and even picking that movie sound bites to be in, it's like, okay, I'm setting the tone, and the tone is, this is New York to the New York. This is not like Manhattan or thing. This is like the real street boom, organic New York. And it's a very great segue into bloody New York State of Mind, man. Which has pretty much one of the most classic lines in rap, which is,
"I never sleep. Sleep is the cousin of death."
No. Okay, so when are we gonna do like the first time you heard this album? Like, what went through your mind? Like the first time you listened, like, do you guys see? I've listened to this album so much that I don't think I remember the very first time I listened to ILLMATIC.
No, I do. Like, no,
you do. Okay. So this is perfect. So you hear like the Genesis, and then you get to New York State of Mind. Like, do you remember the first time you heard that beat? Just the beat, firstly.
Basically, I didn't really fully understand what I was. Basically, this is the beauty of this album. And a family friend of mine told me that in this album, every time you listen to it, you keep on hearing gems that he actually has in it. There's so many gems that are hidden that every time you listen to them, I'm like, oh my gosh, he said that. Oh, he said that. Oh, he links those words. Oh, damn. Oh, he did that. I keep on hearing this stuff because the first time I heard it, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool and everything. But yeah, pretty good rapper. He's all right. But it's like on face value, it's like, yeah, pretty good rapper, pretty good beats. But the more and more you hear that, no, this pretty good rapper is saying stuff that you're missing. First time through, you miss it. The first time through, it goes over your head. Because the thing about Nas's rapping is that when it's about hearing and listening, when you just hear Nas's rap, it's like, yeah, he raps like any pretty good rapper there. But when you listen, it's like, damn, this guy is saying a lot of deep stuff.
Yeah, he even says it too in his raps. Like he says, what did he say again? It's in halftime though. I can't remember, but he said like, I used to kick my rap. I used to kick my little raps because I thought
raps in the park because I thought nobody wouldn't understand.
Would understand exactly.
But
yeah,
now, well known like the number man.
Yeah,
exactly.
But yeah, I think the New York City. I think it's a very good intro into okay, what we're gonna get with this album, because it shows you the groove, the style that he's going with. Because the thing about the Nas style, as I said, like it's complicated because again, like okay, if you listen to a Pharoah Monch or a Chino Excel or an Inspector Deck, they're like from the offset, they're like, okay, we're very skillful, that's it. So we are like the
battle
deep rappers. But the thing about Nas about this is that once you hear it, you're like, yeah, this is very New York, but it's different. And you can't quite put your finger on it when you first hear it. Because you're like, this sounds different, but I don't know why this sounds different, because he sounds like most New York rappers. But the stuff that he's saying seems a bit deeper than other ones, but I just can't catch it. It's only on the second, third, fourth, fifth listen, you're like, you have to, because he hides the gems so hidden that you have to really go in your fifth listen, like, oh, wow.
You see, like me, you see me, like, personally, I hear beats first. So I might listen to this album once, twice, 3 times, and I don't pick up lyrics the first, like, 3-4 times I listen to an album. All I hear are the beats. So when you hear that little bing, 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 and that, like, that's all I hear. So I'm like, what? I'm pretty sure. I'm like, what is this sound? Like, oh, DJ Premier. How's a guy from like how's a guy
DJ
from Houston able to make this feel like New York? You know. So that's what I am. And then he gets into his rapping, and then
and on the lyric side, let's not forget that, like, because this is jazz is the mother of hip hop. Okay, because when Nas was talking to the dude Sting, the dude from The Police, who was a frontman for the band The Police, Sting told him, like, this is a jazz album. And it's really interesting because rap is really pretty much verbal jazz, because they come from this sort of stream of consciousness style of expression. In jazz, there's improvisation. In rap, there's freestyle. So when Nas dropped, like, as Double H was saying, like, he actually changed the game. Like, his flows, the lyricism, the rhyme schemes.
It was different.
There were more. Yeah, it was different and also complex, but not too complex where you sound like, you know, one of those lyrical miracle type rappers. You know what I'm saying?
You know what it is? Do you know what it is? I'm so sorry to cut you, but you know what it is? It's like, because I was thinking about this even when I was coming and listening, so I was like, it's almost like Cool G rap, but an evolved version of Cool G rap.
Dude, you know Russell Simmons?
It's like him mixed with Rakim.
Yeah,
there's some Rakim, like if you remember that record Microphone Fiend from the Follow the Leader record, he's like, I get a craving like a fiend for nicotine, but I don't need a cigarette, know what I mean?
Yeah.
And like, you know, like and then actually I was gonna say this. You know, Russell Simmons, the first time he heard Nas, he turned Nas down, man. Look at this idiot. He was like,
and who was the guy that actually got Nas the deal?
Search.
This
Search.
White guy.
Yeah.
But Search isn't white. Search isn't white. Search is like, what is he? Is he white?
He's white.
I thought he was like some kind of like Jewish mix with something.
No, he's white.
He's just white, bro.
Oh, okay.
He's white.
But like if you look up like pictures of MC Search back in the days, he has like a high top fade. So they were letting white people get away with high top fades back in the day, just like any random white dude. But I guess if you, I guess if you sign Nas, you can get away with it. Like,
yeah.
All right.
But Nas, like, Russell Simmons said that he can't sign Nas for Def Jam because he said that he sounded like Cool G Rap, and Cool G Rap don't sell no records. Why would I sign a rapper that sell no records? That don't sell no records. Like, man, look at this. Idiot, dog.
No, but like, it's just one of those things where, like, it's you have to, because remember, it's very easy saying it after the fact. That is why you have to just have that feeling, because remember, Russell Simmons isn't a rapper. MC Search was a rapper, I think for MC was like, no. This guy is the future of rap. This guy is going to, if we just package him and give him the right producers, this guy will change rap.
Yeah.
And will on which hand rap is. But it takes a rapper who has actually sat down, written raps and everything to understand, oh no, the way this guy is rhyming and putting words together is different. But give him the right environment, he will now elevate to the next level and produce what we saw was a classic. So let's
Can we talk about how he started off this album by, I don't know how to start this shit.
Oh yeah.
It wasn't just him. It was him and a couple homies, like from like Lakey the Kid, Cormega, AZ, like just a couple dudes, man. They were just wilding out in the microphone, but just saying whatever.
I don't know how to start this shit. You lying ass nigga. I don't know how to start this shit.
No, but that's just showing off on. He was flexing, man. It was about flexing. All right.
Yep.
I think it's. Can we start to get a bit controversial here?
Oh, okay.
Track number 3, "Life's a Bitch." Now, can I say something controversial?
No. I know what you're gonna say, and I don't think this is controversial. Okay, I know exactly what you're gonna say.
What are you gonna say?
Wait.
I'm listening.
Yes, you do, but not exactly. Basically, this is rap 101.
Oh.
If you have an extremely talented rapper, make him anchor. Don't make him go first. AZ dismembered and surgically destroyed this track.
Whew.
So what you had was AZ went first, and you're like, who the hell is this? And then he then gave you the chorus, which is like, what? But then when Nas, because Nas's verse is also very good, but the cadence and the flow that AZ had, you have to follow that flow with that same cadence. So once Nas comes in, it sort of makes the track unbalanced. But if Nas had come in first and AZ then came in, then you now go cool, then high. You can't go high, then cool. You have to go cool, then high. So what you had was AZ just came in, was like, what the hell? Look at the way this guy's rhyming, his rhyme scheme, the speed, the style that you've not really had it done in this way before. Then he gives you the chorus like that. But then Nas, because he doesn't rap like that, gave you his flow that you already had from New York State of Mind. So you're like, ugh, it just seems too unbalanced. Because if it was me and I was like the executive producer, AZ, you anchor it. Nas, you go first. We are used to this thing, and AZ, because Nas, you go with the verse, then AZ come in with that crazy chorus, then you just end it with that crazy anchor. Beautiful. That's a nice, beautiful track. Let's get back to the main event, which is Nas, For the World Is Yours. That's just me. So I just felt.
Oh, go ahead.
No. Go.
Is AZ's verse the greatest feature verse ever? Considering the album, like I feel like I haven't gone through like top 5. I haven't written out my top 5 feature verses, but I feel like this should be somewhere in the top 3.
Bro, yeah. Listen, have you listened to Cannabis's verse on Hell, Munch?
I'm not putting Cannabis have you listened to anywhere near top 3
on
if Cannabis
have you listened to Cannabis's verse with what's it called, Mr. Cheeks, Redman, and I can't remember the other dude. Cannabis was known for destroying careers on features. But
have you heard this Cannabis verse becomes a feature of this? This isn't gonna last. Because no, I haven't.
No. This AZ feature was really ridiculous because I was like, are you listening to what this guy is saying?
Low key, this is the first verse I think I ever memorized.
Yeah,
like all the way through.
AZ was talking about, this was the last recorded record on the album, the whole album, right?
Wow. Okay.
So yeah, because AZ prior to it, like he had heard everything. He had heard the whole record, like all the other records. It Ain't Hard to Tell, everything else. And he was like, man, I need to be in the zone for this. Like, so he just started this. Exactly. He just said, I just need to be in the zone. So he came up with the hook. The beat was playing. And honestly, he rushed it because he felt that he didn't think everyone liked it. Like that's what he felt. He felt that at that what we said he did feel. It was like it was recorded at like the spur of the moment impulse, bro. Like, and for that to happen, like that's just insane. Like,
I mean, like what you hear, like visualizing the realism of life and actuality. Fuck who the baddest, a person's status depends on salary. I was like,
no.
Until the day we expire and turn to vapors,
me and my capers
be somewhere stacking plenty papers.
I can still get high.
Life's the bitch, and then no. Basically, think about it is because we're gonna have an easy conversation because we are doing do or die.
Definitely
at another time because the thing about AZ is that, again, correct me if I'm wrong. Again, just very brief because again, this is about Nas, but let's just give AZ his praise. I don't think I've ever heard a rapper rap the way that AZ does, because it's a very unique and quite dynamic rap style where they're really not. He doesn't really take the lines all run into each other, but because they run into each other, you can still hear everything he's saying because it's very simple for it to be like, oh, but it's all in one flow. We can
he's
hear
an economic rapper, I would say. Very economic.
Ooh, interesting. Yeah.
I would say that he's economic. Like there's very little wasted space. If you
he doesn't brilliant. And there's no like, uncompromising of like that street sound. Like he never went away from that, Like he
But it's like what Danny said is like, not a single thing is wasted. Like there's never any downtime in his verse. It's like if you took like a letter or a word away, it would mess everything up. But it's like if he has, as you said, he just went to the zones like, boom, this is my bar. Every single word must fit. Every single syllable must fit. Where it's literally like musical, where everything's just hitting the beat at the right time.
Can I bring up one?
It's as if like when he's writing, like his rhymes are going past the margin, like like he's just going, like he's just right. It's insane.
If I could bring up one thing, just to kind of reference what Tosin mentioned about jazz, the trumpet in this song is Nas's father. I think his name is Olu Jones or Olu Dara Jones, or something like
Olu
that. So. I think that's important to note that the jazz element of this, considering who Nas's father is, makes it.
Look, he's Nigerian.
I'm not fully sure, but
he might have changed his name to something more African.
Yeah, I think his name was originally Charles Jones, and then he chose Oludara, which means like
that trumpet at the end of that's Nas's father. Yeah. So I feel like it's important to note that like the jazz influence that Nas has probably comes from the links that his dad has as a trumpeter.
Okay, so does anybody know who? I mean, LES, he produced this track. Again, I've never
records on this. Yeah.
Okay. So again, life's amazing track, amazing record, and one thing I say is that why didn't people get as AZ to do more choruses? It's like that's a bloody amazing chorus. The thing he did. All right, world is yours. My God, and bloody incredible track.
Man, this record.
Die alone. Do you know how strong that mantra is? Born alone, die alone. Pete Rock producing this track. Amazing track. Speak on it. Amazing track.
No Pete Rock, like no hip hop, man. Like Pete Rock is a genius. Like. Man, the sample, like the Ahmad Jamal sample from what's the record called? I Love Music. Just when those chords come in, it's so beautiful, man. Like
this thing is gonna cry.
Like real talk, it's so good. Like
no, I mean, again, it's like this is where it's like because again, it goes back to the quality of production. The production is, it's good, but it doesn't steal the show.
Can we talk about the production quickly?
But DJ Premier heard this though.
Just like not to step over you, Tosin.
Okay. Yeah.
This was the first I think most people probably know this though. But like this is the first like super producer album where you get like DJ Premier, we get Q-Tip from Tribe, we bring in Pete Rock, we bring in Large Professor. Like at first it was just like you get one producer, one rapper, and y'all work together and y'all make y'all album. But then this album was one of the first where it was just like yo, I'm gonna get superstar producers and get the best beats from everywhere.
Yeah.
And another thing that's probably interesting is that this was made in 92, 93, 94. Do you guys think perhaps, and I don't know the answer to this, do you guys think perhaps like there wasn't, like the production model was so bare bones at that point, like that maybe the technology wasn't as great to where you couldn't really like make something so overpowering to the rapper? Like I'm sure that you could. I'm sure there's other things in this time period that did, but like if you're a good producer, you know what to do. You couldn't fool yourself or trick. You couldn't slip up, basically. Do you guys know what I'm trying to say?
Oh no! So basically, you said that the technology wasn't there to make the
something
track
so complex to where it would step over Nas.
Oh yes, no. You know that is a fair point. That is because I'm trying to think of
it's
albums.
It's more of a question
possible.
than a point.
You could. There were grandiose recordings around that time.
Yeah,
like,
no.
Not
I mean,
just
like,
hip-hop.
Because I can't. But I've listened to albums from the 90s where the production, where it's not that it was overpowered, but you could feel like if it was there and it wasn't very good and it just wasn't on points, and the rapper wasn't really linking well with the track that was there. So maybe it wasn't as technologically advanced as it was we have now, especially with the Kanye West re-recordings. But you could feel like if a lot is going on in this production and it's not marrying well with the rapper. The key thing about this is that it's quality production that is there to serve the rapper.
Yeah,
that's the key thing. But I still think that
I would argue this though.
What?
I would argue this. I'd say just for this record, Pete Rock's like instrumentation is just as impressive as Nas's like lyrics in this record, because it's 100. It's like it's 10 out of 10 lyrics, 10 out of 10 on the instrumental side. And like, yo, this record was so dope. This record was so dope. DJ Premier, when he first heard it, he was like, man, I gotta change my beat. Like, because all these producers, they were like, it was like a competition, man. Because once they heard Nas, they were like, man, this dude is so dope. DJ Premier had like 4 or 5 beats for Nas on this. He would try to tell Nas, no, take this beat. Like we'll get to Memory Lane, but you know, DJ Premier had like 2, 3 other versions. He wanted Nas to use those rhymes over. He made like 2, 3 remixes to that same song. You know what I mean? Like he was kind of threatened by just this beat right here by Pete Rock. Like it was that.
No. I think like when this came, I think, look, it's all the tracks are crazy, but I think once this arrived, I think this was the first track that really jumped off the canvas. I think like New York State of Mind, Life's a Bitch, all really good, but they were like, I think almost as if they were building up to this. I think there are, if I'm looking now, I would say that there are 3 crescendos in this. This is the first crescendo of like, oh, whoa, okay, damn. Because as you said, the sampling, the quality of the track, and his rapping, and what he says, and how he writes the track, this just stands out. So again, this isn't so much a competition because Premium was pretty good. So I'm not even going to say, oh no, Pete Rock defeated. No. It's not about that. All the stuff was good. Just that this was a crescendo.
Yeah.
There was just a crescendo of like, okay, all right, this album has now reached its first peak. So, all right, halftime. Okay. Wait. Can I make a confession? Only now did I realize that, oh, halftime, it's halfway through the album.
Stop.
Only now that, because I was like, it's just one of those things where I say, oh yeah, halftime.
You were trying to think about it critically, and you just now realized?
Look, I'm slow. Sue me. So it's just that because I was like, wait a minute. Let me just, okay, this is track 5. How many tracks are there? 10. Oh, okay. Another very good track. Another very good.
Very good.
You know,
although,
go ahead. No, yeah. What's it called? Like, I mean, again, not to the same crescendo as The World Is Yours, but it's a very nice. We're still riding, we're still going. It's a nice beat, nice production. And I think this just when Nas is just, I think World Is Yours he's talking about some very serious, deep stuff. Here is more fun. So it's a nice little kind of variation, and it's a nice thing to come off of The World Is Yours. So speak on it.
Oh yeah, definitely. When he's like, isn't that the one where he's like, it's like Malcolm X catching the jungle fever?
Yeah.
I remember laughing at that one. Quickly, I just want to talk about, and this was a track that I singled out when I was listening to it before we did this review. I wrote down 2 things, just 2 bars. Well, technically 4, but it's the difference between multi-syllabic rhymes and internal rhyme schemes. And Nas, and I could have picked any song, any verse, because he's so great at it in this. But I just wanted to break down just a couple things that you notice, especially when you go to school to study English, and they try to teach you the shit about, like, Samuel Coleridge and just all these wordsmith. It's not Wordsmith, Longfellow, and all these guys, Walt Whitman, whatever the case may be. Like, they try to tell you, like, these guys are the greatest poets of all time. It's like, y'all need to listen to Illmatic. Y'all need to listen to Reasonable Doubt because
yes,
because like these guys. So if like this is just simple, and everybody should get it. Multi-syllabic rhyming. So when I attack, they're an army that can strike back, right? So and then the next one, he says, so I react never calmly on the hype track. So it's simple. It might even go over your head, but the fact that he rhymes attack with react, army with calmly, and back with track in the exact same space is a multi-syllabic rhyme scheme. And then when you go to the last verse, and this is an internal rhyme scheme where it's just, but not bisexual, I'm an intellectual, at rap I'm a professional. And then he turns question yo into the 4th of that. So he says, not bisexual, I'm an intellectual, at rap I'm a professional, and that's no question yo.
Yeah.
So he combines those 2 words in order to make it fit the scheme that he's doing. And obviously this isn't the supreme example of internal rhyme schemes and multisyllabic rhyming. We could get into Big L if we wanted to. We could get into MF Doom if we wanted to. And
Rakim
they kind of
was like the pioneer of that.
Yeah. Like Rakim was the first with this, but this was like the preeminent one of this time, in my opinion. And this is the standard of right. So like today when we say he can't rap well, or that nigga can't rap, etc., this is what we're talking about. Like, if you can't do this, you can't rap in terms of a 2019 context. If you're not able to do this, it's very hard for me to be able to say you can rap, because they were able to do this in '94. And there's things, I think there was an interview with Search where he was like he heard Nas rhyme and he just tore up his rap book.
Oh yeah,
like because everything that was written in that book is now obsolete.
Yeah,
and Nas has now shifted the paradigm of what we are able to do with words in the way that we put it inside of this beat. So if you can't match what Nas was doing in '94 in terms of just not what he says, because you can't go back and live in 1990, the early 1990s New York, you're never going to recapture that moment. But if you can't just do the bare bones of being able to put rhyming words together in some manner of a complex way, I don't want to hear what you have to say.
You know how old Nas was when he wrote this, though? You know Nas was 17 when he wrote this. Like,
no.
Genius. He's a genius, obviously. But
what I'll say though in response to that is that you have to because again, this is something maybe after we're done with the tracks, it's something we'll just talk about, just Nas the rapper. Nas is extremely good. So I think like us just saying that we expect people to do what Nas does.
No. I'm not expecting you to do it exactly like that. But you should be able to do it something
even in
like that.
I'm saying even in the even in his stratosphere, because there are levels. How Nas is rapping. First of all, because you have to say it's in combination of it's about multi-syllabic rhyming, the words he's using, how he's using the words, how he's painting the picture.
They're very simple. He rhymed track with back, He calmly with army. Like, it's simple, but where he places them and then the meter that goes with it and all that kind of stuff. Like how he can bend words to make it rhyme. Like that should be standard rapper handbook 101. Like if you can't do this, why are you rapping?
Trust me, as a guy, because I'm sure all of us tried to rap.
I was a rapper for about an hour, and when I couldn't figure out how to write like this, I just stopped because like, what's the point?
Oh no, I think like basically when you hear guys like Nas, Pheromone, and so forth, you're like, you know what? Put the pen down, go get a job. You know?
but see, like, but like this, but see, this is me. This is like if I can't rap like the greats, there's no point for me to be sitting here with a pen. But maybe some people are just like, you know what? That standard is not my standard, and I'm happy just to be, you know, Gucci gang. Like, hey, that rhymes. Like,
don't bring that in here. Don't bring that in here. Okay, let's move now. I'm gonna say this, man, because we've been dissing DJ Premier, and I blame you two guys for dissing DJ Premier.
No, I'm not dissing it.
Yes, we did. Yes, we did. So you know what? DJ Premier was unhappy, and he came back strong. This is one of the best produced tracks on the album, Memory Lane.
You want to know what's funny?
The production on this
he hated it. He hated this record. He said it like he has a remix to this, and he was trying to convince Nas use this remix, but Nas was like, "No, I want this one. I want this one that's on the album." Like that's how crazy it is. And what's so funny is that. What's so funny though is that Nas was right. This record is incredible. Like DJ Premier spazzed on this, but that's the beauty. Like that's the thing about incredible craftsmen like in what they do. Like they're never satisfied. Like they're just never satisfied with what they have. But Nas, like from this one, it was just clear that this was it. Like this was the perfect backdrop to Nas just reminiscing on his younger times.
You said the key word, man. You said the key, because again, that's what you just said, reminisce. When you just hear the track, it is almost the perfect track for let me just think back about my memories, which is why Premier don't touch a single note. Just the tone of this track and everything. It's literally like memory lane. It's like, because it's hard to describe because it's music, but
it makes you feel good. It makes you feel good.
It makes you feel good, and it just makes you feel like, oh yeah, remember those good times. Remember those good, hey man, let's reminisce about those good, nice times. Which is why just every instrument used and everything he used was just perfect for what Nas was trying to say in this track.
Yeah. And also, when Dan was talking about the multiple rhyme schemes, I'm kind of like, I don't really know what. I think I get what internal rhyme schemes are. I'm a little bit stuck on the multi-syllabic because Nas had that line on this record where he's like, "People's a petro, dramatic, automatic, fofo, I let blow, and back down popo when I vex." So, like what? Like that shit is insane. Like,
how do you explain multisyllabic versus internal rhyme scheme? This is something that someone with a PhD should do, and not somebody with a bachelor's degree in English should do. But internal rhyme scheme would be just like in one line, you have multiple words that rhyme in one line, or maybe like or like two lines, but they're not really related as per the next line, other than the fact that they rhyme. A multisyllabic rhyme would be like in one bar, you have a pattern of rhyming, and then in the next bar or line, you copy the exact same syllables and you repeat the exact same rhyme. Does that make sense? Okay, so if I do cat, hat, mat, bat, that's not multisyllabic rhyming. But if I do the cat went to the mat, the bat was on the mat.
To get some slack to get the crack because it was
something like that. Like to get the crack. What? But yeah, it's like it's mimicking previous rhymes. It's like mimicking previous internal rhyme schemes. So that would be the difference. Obviously, this is a bit nerdy, and again, I'm not a teacher, but yeah.
No, but I think the beauty, but
if it was on a test, I'd be able to pass it, which is why I have my degree. But
no. But the reason why I like you introducing this, and this is why I want to bring to this whole rap thing, is I want us to really dissect this stuff, because what I really want to just get people to know is that rap isn't just rap; it's poetry. These are artists. Okay, this is an art form that is very complex, very detailed. Which is why I say I don't even call them rappers. These are poets. Call your Blueface or whatever. Yeah, he's a rapper. This guy we're dealing with is a poet, you know. And in poetry, there's a lot of creativity and a lot of very detailed stuff coming in, which is good identity is bringing in this stuff, because
you know what's interesting is that what I think what detracts sometimes from rappers being looked at as poets is if you read someone like Robert Frost, or like maybe not Robert Frost is a bad example, but just like any one of those old 18th century, 19th century, even some of the 20th century poets, there's like the whole thing is a double entendre. So the poem could be what it's about, but then there's also a hidden meaning behind what it's about. When you read, when you're listening to something like Nas and he's telling you the exact streets, the exact people, like Jay-Z's telling you exactly where things are, exactly what happened. There's no mystery. There's no like you can word things in different ways, but at the end of the day, Nas is telling you exactly what's happening in New York in the early 90s. Yeah. So there's no like, how do I break this down and create? Like Nas is giving it to you on a plate. Like this is exactly what I'm talking about. You don't have to go search for it. I'm giving it to you. I'm a news reporter from the hood telling you exactly what's happening in Queensbridge in 1993, 1994. Like when you go back to the old days and you read about daffodils, maybe the daffodils mean something else, but they could also be daffodils. So I think sometimes the simplicity of the message detracts from people actually breaking it down and understanding the complexity really of how the words are put together inside of a beat.
Which is the beauty of, again, that's why I wanna just save that till we go through all the tracks, because I just want to just talk about Nas the rapper afterwards. And trust me, we are getting to Uchi Wale Wale very soon. Don't trust me. So let's go into One Love, Nas and Q-Tip. Okay, this is where I felt the album was chilling out, plateauing. You know, because again, you can't go do all the time. So One Love was like, okay, let's just, because we've had it, like, what's it called? My God, world is yours. No, basically, state of mind, life's a bitch, world is just half to memory lane. Let's just chill. Because those are just
it goes on a really, really hot run. But I would include One Love in this. Especially the first few times you hear it. Because the message of this song is incredible. Like
it's the first. Sorry. I was just gonna say
go ahead, Tosin.
Oh, my bad. No, I was just gonna say, like, this is the first like a concept record on the album, you know, because it has someone dealing with somebody dealing with like a rhyme about like people having their problems. It's a song about letters to prison inmates, shout outs to childhood friends, and like just things in that ilk. And like this is like, without this record, we don't get further records like I Give You Power, One Mic, Rewind. Like this was the genesis of Nas really honing his own as like a storyteller, you know? Because, like that third verse, there are people who talk about that third verse as arguably the greatest in the history of this genre. You know, that's how important it is. Like I saw a freaking YouTube comment when I looked up this record today, and he said, I wrote a whole verse. I wrote a whole essay on the third verse, and I got an A on my paper. Like that's just that's crazy.
Yeah, I was gonna say like the literary device of like an epistolary or an epistle, like if people know that, like if they know the Bible, an epistle, like Paul's letter to Ephesians or whatever, that's an epistle. Or like the idea of maybe if people know like the works of James Baldwin, if you read The Fire Next Time, it's written as a letter to, I'm forgetting exactly who it is. I think it was his nephew. if people more recently, if you've listened or read Between the World and Me by Ta-Nehisi Coates, how he kind of copies the Baldwin epistolary format, and he's writing a letter to his son. It's a literary device to like bring you into an intimate moment, but like the writer knows this is going to go public, but it's bringing you into a moment. So when he starts off that verse with "What up, kid? I know shit's tough doing your bid," it's like he's writing a letter to his friend in Rikers Island, probably, and it's bringing you into that moment. So just that, as you say, that first, the concept song,
like changing perspective. He's changing
exactly, and it's very, it's clever the way he did it.
And this is what Q-Tip once said. I think he said, like, I've heard a lot of because Q-Tip produced this record, right? We know that, right?
Yeah.
So, I think he said something like to the female. What's the name of that female that was in charge? It wasn't just MC Search. There was a female in it. I forget her name. She's some white woman. Nas talks to her on that 25th anniversary documentary. I forget her name. Though. Yeah, you know who I'm referring to, though, right?
Nas, she'll be in the Wikipedia page, I'm sure.
But yeah, Q-Tip was telling her that Nas is
Faith Newark. Is that her name?
Faith Newark. I think that's her name. Yeah, that's her name. Q-Tip was telling her that you got a
Newman,
gem here.
Perhaps.
Faith Newman. Yeah. I think it was Faith something, but yeah. We can get
it just says, it says Faith N. So I'm trying to think. It's like Newman, Newkirk, something like that.
Just go with it. Let's just go with it.
It's Faith N. That's
Faith N.
It's Newman. It's Newman.
Oh, okay.
Like Seinfeld.
But yeah, I think he was Q-Tip was telling her that, Nas has this uncanny ability, because what distinguishes him from like the Rakims, the Kool G Rap, another dimension to him is that he doesn't have to always rap in first person. He can rap from the perspective of someone else, and you see that too in his later records. Like he can rap from the perspective of someone else, and he has that vulnerability
or a thing.
Just that vulnerability that most of these lyricists don't have. Like he could come to you street. He could come to you on some education shit. He could come to you on some gangster-ish. Like he could come to you on, he could come to you with so many angles, and he can just take a whole collective experience and he can internalize a whole collective experience and just.
Oh no! I think
it's his own. Like
that's like because what you're saying is just
genius,
versatility, and I think if you're able to go, I think that's the key thing. What I like is perspective. Because it then forces you to then sort of like change the way you're approaching how you're writing your lyrics and the record. Because again, everybody starts with like I this, I'm this, me this. But now can you actually be in third person, or can you now, which is what some rappers have done, I'm now taking the role of a certain person in this kind of record. Because then that's forced you to now bring in a whole different brain and mind skill into your writing. So let's go in. So all right, I think this might be Danny's one. One Time for Your Mind.
Man, what a record! What a record! Y'all be sleeping on this record. People be sleeping on this record, man, and it's foul. It's flagrant.
No, I'm not sleeping on this record, but
I love the bass line. It's just
that bass goes hard.
It's just way too slow, and like the subsequent 2 tracks make up for it. So like that's why I consider it a 10 out of 10, because it doesn't end. But if the album ended on this song, like if the album was only 8 and you ended on One Time for Your Mind, it just brings the whole, like you set it up so well, and then this just brings it all the way down. In
response to that, I think that what saves this track is it comes after One Love. If it had come after Memory Lane, it would stick out like a sore thumb. But because One Love brings things down, then this comes in, you're like, okay, he's slowing us down here, cool. This would have really been a sore thumb and really stuck out if it came after Memory Lane.
Yes.
So but I do get it, like it definitely is, it doesn't go with the pace of the album, because even if One Love is slower, it still is within the same kind of mind frame and the same kind of mind context as the rest of the album. This just sort of like, it's basically, you said it's too slow.
But also, but like,
man,
like,
but
like, like,
it
like
actually, you want to know what's
this-
funny though?
Oh,
Sorry.
Go ahead.
It's
No,
just,
go ahead.
Go.
not-
Okay. Tosin then, Danny Tosin.
this record, it's not that much slower than New York State of Mind. They're damn near in the same range almost. I'm telling you, it's in terms of beats per minute, and just terms of, I'm just talking from a technical standpoint. So it's really just in that sense. And then you couple that with like, just why I like this record is, I think the production is so dope. Like that sloping bass line that just stumbles its way throughout the whole song.
I don't know, man. I don't know.
Man, it's vibes, man. That's vibes, bro. Like it's just so dope.
It doesn't go with the vibe of the album. Like it just
just
doesn't fit in with what has already come.
You want to know what my biggest problem with this record is? That, like, I've already kind of outlined it, but it's antithetical to the idea of the album. If the idea of the album is setting up New York and Nas is trying to bring you into New York, when was the last time you went to New York and somewhere just like, yo, it's so slow here, man. Like nothing ever happens. Like the whole idea of New York is you go there, it's fast paced, hustle, bustle, like backwards, forwards, everything's always moving, Big Apple, this and that. And this track, it just seems like it doesn't match the aesthetic of New York City.
You can say that, but there's always that one time where you just gotta chill, man. Like especially in the New York so-called landscape. Like this whole album, Nas is also professing his love for the Buddha, the ganja. Okay, like that's throughout this whole album. When he's talking about like thinking of cash flow, Buddha and shelter, like that's just that's all a man needs, man. Just cash, money. Maybe not Buddha,
and he
but
also
like
says, and then he also says he's gonna hijack Delta. So are we like,
yeah? But yeah, like it's just, I don't know. It's just there's the swagger to the beat, and then there's that youthful exuberance behind it.
I love the bass line. Like I said, I love the bass line. It just doesn't match the album.
I mean,
for me.
I'd say like it's like for me, I will never say it's a bad track. No, it's basically it's cool. The best thing to say it's cool. It's cool. Okay, let's ride to represent. I
love this song.
Yeah, this is insane.
But also, I think I love it because the track before it, I don't. So then you give me one that's like even it's better. So then it makes me love it.
I
like this track. I wouldn't say I love this track. I just that this is definitely a step up from One Time for Your Mind. So it's like, okay, One Time for Your Mind was cool. Okay, we're now back with that flip.
It's the synth, like that twang. I don't even know how to describe that sound. That I actually don't even know who produced this record. I mean,
DJ Premier.
Yeah, definitely. It sounds like a Premier. Not just it. But yeah, that twang. It's almost if you know that Premier's from Houston, and you combine like a Houston kind of, I don't know what, but it doesn't stand out to me as a New York boom bap kind of track, really. But the fact that Nas is on it kind of makes it that way. But I love the way it sounds.
Oh no. Basically, it's again like I literally just put my headphones on just to listen, just to remind myself of the track. Now,
we can cheat. We can do that. We can cheat.
Oh, yeah, just like I was telling you.
Yes, your bloody headphones on to remind yourself. Yes, you can cheat.
I wish, man. I wish we didn't live in a world with copyright, man. Like, how come we just can't put like a little bed of like the track underneath that way we can remind ourselves?
Look, man.
I hate capitalism, bro.
No. But see, this was even how he's rapping, how quick. This is such in contrast to One Time for Your Mind. You see, in defense of One Time for Your Mind, I do get that in an album you want to have variance of fast up, slow, up and down. So maybe One Love and One Time for Your Mind is let's just slow things down because we're building up to crescendo. Because I'm going to preach about track 10.
No. I'm going to preach about track 10.
Trust me, I'm going to go on a soliloquy about track 10. So I'm saving that to last because just chill. So
this nigga said I'm saving the last track to last. Way to go.
Leave me. Can I live? Let me live, man. But I think I just think this was like a return to form. I know what I think. track 9 was setting up for track 10. Because you can't go into track 10 off One Time for Your Mind. No. It doesn't make any sense.
No.
Represents was like, okay, I am when we're now back to that groove, we're now back to the cadence and the kind of pace I set earlier on.
You know what? Do you know what?
What?
You just did something to my mind just now.
Uh-oh.
If you look at the track sequencing, you could argue that the last 5 tracks are all surrounded around One Time for Your Mind. That you can't follow Memory Lane with One Time for Your Mind. So then you put One Love in between. So like you start high, then you go low, then you go lower, then you go low, and then you come high again with the track 10. So it's like kind of like a gradual down and then a gradual build again.
Yeah,
we're talking about.
I wonder.
Trust me. Track listing is very.
Yeah, I was just about to say that. I was wondering, like, in the sequencing, was that like we want One Time for Your Mind in there no matter what. So how do we figure out a way to like fit this in, sandwiched between 2 songs that kind of can help us do what we need to do?
No, because trust me, there was a lot. There would have been a lot of thought because I think that One Time for Your Mind. Who knows? Again, I don't know, but maybe there was a thing of like, does this fit in? Does it not fit in? But maybe Nas purpose was, I know I need this to fit in. But what makes an album is how do you place the tracks? Where do the tracks come? What is your sequencing and what is the basically pacing? Almost like a film. The pacing on the album is very important. So it is very important that in One Time for Your Mind, because what it is because even after halftime, and this is something I'll say after we've done with the albums, is it's very interesting how we have the first half and the second half, because they are very different in what he talks about and how and what the production is like. But yeah, One Time for Your Mind, that is the only place you could place it. That's the only place that you could place it, because it's really is the one thing that just brings everything to a much more calmer thing. Then you have to slowly build up and then boom, crescendo. So it's perfectly placed. So
what about we didn't finish Represent though.
Go.
Yeah, just like I was telling y'all about Memory Lane, where Nas decided he decides to say no, DJ, like no, Premier, we're sticking with this one. We're sticking with this. With Represent, Premier wanted to switch this one up also. Like, and I think he says it in one of the interviews. Like, but he was right. He was right though. This time Nas actually catered to, like, he actually gave in to Primo's, what Primo wanted, and because the first one, it's just bass heavy. So that's how it's really interesting. Y'all talking about one Time for Your Mind, because that's really bass heavy. So if you went to 2 bass heavy tracks, you know what I mean, like where the bass, yeah, exactly, it would sound redundant. And DJ Primo kind of understood that, so he switched it up. He had the wherewithal to like, no, let's switch this up. Let's get this let's add a little more bounce to it. Like, and man, it came out perfect. It just came out perfect. But yeah.
Can we talk about the greatest closing track in the history of rap?
You know what? Like, let me be real with you. I'm just trying to run off. I cannot think of a better. Again, guys, look, man, you know the album and everything. Please, I'll put it to you. Is there a better final track on an album than this? Because also, let me add, I feel, okay, in my view, the best use of the Human Nature Michael Jackson track, I still say, is SWV Right Here. This is the second best. For me, that's still the best use of Human Nature, is SWV Right Here, one of my favorite tracks of all time. This is the second best use of that sample, Human Nature. To end an album like this,
there are a lot of. Oh, I was just gonna say there are a lot of contenders for best outro, like, but this is up there. I'll say it's up.
No, please tell me. No, please tell me, because name me the album. I don't. Sorry, Tosi.
You got scenario. You got scenario.
Better outro.
You got scenario. You got God Lives Through.
What's the scenario? Toasty, give me a break, man.
Here we go.
Oh, that record is crazy. Like, you got
Let's get
Suicidal Thoughts, Ready to Die. My first song off the Black album.
No.
Oh my God. Look.
There's just so many.
Danny,
There's
talk
so
to them.
many.
Danny, please talk to me.
There's
Bro,
so many.
no. When you click play and you hear just the bass, the saxophone.
Last call on College Dropout.
Bro, it's a 14-minute
many.
track and he's talking about he's just talking. Like, it's dope.
There's so many. I'm just saying. It's up there. But this it ain't hard to tell. Top 5. I won't argue that. Okay. It's top 5 at worst.
Like, for me, it's like
saxophone,
the level of
the lyrics,
is
the bass, the sample. Like, it's the perfect ending
perfect
to the album because
also
it leaves you wanting more. And another genius thing about this album, it's only 40 minutes. Like, it's not too long. It's only 10 tracks, which is like the perfect number, somewhere between 10 and 12.
Like 39 something.
So to end it on a banger, it's just like, damn, the album's over already.
No. So basically, it's 39 minutes, 39 seconds. The album.
Yeah, like, bro, like, whenever I want to waste 40 minutes, like, I need to kill 40 minutes. I can't tell you the amount of times we've been doing Talking Tactics and you guys have been late. Yeah. So, there's 30 minutes to kill. Let's play Illmatic.
Yeah. No.
It's perfect. But just back to It Ain't Hard to Tell. It's just, and I think this might have been the first or the second single from the album. Mm-hmm. So I guess they kind of realized what this was. But yeah, man.
I think what Dan said is so right, is that is what is called perfection, is that it leaves you wanting more. But don't give me a track 11, don't give me a track 12. 10, that's it. Oh my God, I want more. You're not gonna have more. Because once you finish, you're like, man, I wish there was more. There isn't more. So what do you now say? Bro, that was perfect. Because you didn't overstep. You didn't do too much. You left us wanting more. And you left us on a high. Because the way this track just attacks, from the opening, the way this track just attacks, you're like, what? Michael Jackson's coming in, the beat, and this guy, he destroys this track. So whatever AZ may have done to Nas on Life's a Bitch, Nas said, you know what, let me just come back and just say what's up. You know? So, like, now
what's funny though is
how do you end an album like this? How do you? When
he was like, when he was like, Nas is like the Afrocentric Asian, half man, half woman.
No. Since he told to get the hell out of here,
and that was our first art, and I think that was our first Keep a Uzi in the army jacket lining reference that Nas has like said his whole career.
Sorry, Tosin, man. This
This is an incredible record. I'm not gonna hear me ever bash anything off of Illmatic. Impossible.
We are gassing it, to be fair.
Yeah, but the Michael Jackson sample, the Kool and the Gang sample on it, like, it's just. And then you have Nas with those, man, Nas. It's funny, too, because this record was on his demo in 1991. Wow. So if you heard,
he mentioned Medusa. Listen, I'm just listening to this right now. He mentioned Medusa.
Yeah.
Where does Medusa come from? He puts a Greek mythology. No, I know who she is. I was being ironic. Basically, no.
Okay.
Like, okay, you know what? Again, this is what I wanted to say about the album. Is that no? Basically, I think the brilliance of this album, which is what I just realized which is why I said it. I said it like on Represents, is first half and second half. I think that first half is more serious, and the second half is more, I would say, reflective. Which is why in the first half it's a bit more grittier, more edgier, and the second half is much more what's the right word? Danny Tima, you're the bloody English major, man. Come, give me that word. Is much reflective, more philosophical. You know?
I think the first half is more like what's the word? it's a perspective of life. I'm trying to think of the antithesis of introspective. And I want to say outrospective, but that's not a word. I don't think. But yeah, like the first half is just more setting the scene of like how life is. The second half is more like his feeling about it in some ways. Because like New York State of Mind opens up like he's some sort of drug dealer running through halls that's like piston hallways, and like he's like I can't even remember the bars offhand because we've been going through all the tracks, but just like it's a story. It's like a dream. But then like once you get to One Love, you realize like, oh, okay, like these must actually be homies that have gone. He's got people in jail. So it just kind of it gradually goes like, oh, this is actually Nas at some point.
I'll say like
go.
Oh yeah. It's just, man, like this shit, man, like I was saying, man, just a fundamental listen. You have a young black man growing up in the inner city at the age of 20, just giving you vivid details. It's like you're in a movie listening to this guy. And just the fact that he grew up like in Queensboro projects, and that where he was living in, like there were pretty much no amenities. Like the elevators, they would stop on like every odd floor in the building, odd numbered floor in the building. And like just him growing up in all this poverty, but then using all these straight concepts that he's had just from 2 decades of life, less than 2 decades of life, and just encapsulate all that into just 40 minutes from growing up in, daily poverty and all that. And then not only that, just the album cover itself. You see a 7-year-old him with
the backdrop.
The projects behind him. Yeah, the backdrop, the projects behind him. I think there's Queensbridge also in there also. And let's not forget, we need to actually talk a little bit about this. How many people bit off of that album cover?
Oh,
how many people
too many
bit off of that album cover? I
probably did it at one point, and I just don't remember. So
there's a I don't know if we'll ever talk about this, because I remember you guys were talking about greatest feature verses of all time. For me, the greatest feature verse of all time is still Nas, but it's on Only Built for Cuban Links by Raekwon, Verbal Intercourse. That verse, Lord have mercy. And in that same album, there's a skit. I think it's called like Shark Biters, and you have Ray and Ghost just talking about, oh man, niggas is biting, bro. They bit off my man Nas shit. And they were talking about Biggie. Because if you know the Biggie Ready to Die album, it's the same thing. It's the same photo.
The baby on the cover?
The baby, yeah. So this actually, there was a little rivalry from this album with Nas and Biggie, and Nas and like Biggie and Wu-Tang. Like that, there was a little. That story is also there.
But I think basically, I want to sort of shift things now to the impact of this album and why Nas pisses me off. This is why Nas pisses me off. You can't make an album like this and not pretty much be the undisputed greatest rapper of all time. Like, this is the album that sets the stage for you to be like, after 3 or 4 albums, you know what? Nobody can even look this guy in the eye. Case in point, Kendrick Lamar is never touching Nas, ever. But Kendrick Lamar has given us 3 arguable classic albums. But the thing with Kendrick Lamar is that he maintained a focus and a consistency and a proper trajectory from his first, second, third album. And that's what Nas should have done. Because once you do something like
I don't know, man. Like, bro, I'll just say this, man.
It Was Written is a classic album.
It's not Illmatic, man. It's not Illmatic.
See, nothing is gonna be Illmatic. That's like going to like Jordan and being like.
The problem with Nas that I think Double H is kind of talking about is he kind of, like, what's the word? I don't want to say, like, he was dick riding, man, like after Illmatic, in the sense that It Was Written, that's a mafioso rap album, like and Biggie did it, Jay did it, Raekwon did it,
You don't follow
Do or
Illmatic.
Die.
It's Illmatic. Sorry.
There were so many albums of that ilk, and Nas was just going
Mobb
with
Deep
the
did
flow.
it.
Yeah, Mobb Deep. Yeah, he was just going with the flow. But that, not to take away from It Was Written, but he was, and ever since then, he just kind of got into a little lull period. Like, no disrespect, I personally think Nas has 3 classics. I don't think Kendrick has 3 classics. That's crazy. Like, I think we overuse the word classic. I'll say he has 3.
Definitely. We definitely overuse the word classic.
I'll say an Illmatic, It Was Written, and Lost Tapes. Those 3.
Do you know what a classic means? Okay, an amazing album is not a classic album. You realize that?
No, Nas doesn't. Nas has, like, Stillmatic was given a 5. Like, for example, back in the day, The Source, that was the magazine for hip hop reviews. Nothing else mattered. Rolling Stone, All Music, all those other outlets, rappers didn't care. They didn't give a damn. Like, it was all about The Source. And The Source gave Illmatic a 5-star album, and it was like one of the first ever to get like one of the 5-star rating, 5 mics. Sorry, not 5 stars. Yeah, 5 mics. Everything after that, they also gave Stillmatic 5 mics, but Stillmatic, as great as it is, that's not a 5 mic album. Like, it's just...
It Was Written and Lost Tapes are not classic albums. It Was Written is a very good album. It's not a classic. Like, we can't throw the word...
You can argue that.
We can't. Like, the whole point of a classic is that is saved for true rarities, because that is the beauty of a classic, because classics is a very exclusive club.
So how many classic albums do you think Jay-Z has by this criteria?
This is interesting. I would like to hear this.
Bro,
for me, though, I would say Reasonable Doubt.
I think Jay-Z has 4 classic albums.
What?
4?
Reasonable Doubt, Blueprint,
okay,
the Black Album, and 444.
Nah.
No, sorry, no.
But I see what you're saying. Honestly, Lowest the Keys, American Gangster.
444 is incredible.
That's not a classic album. It's a very good album.
It's too early, though. It's too early. It's too early.
You know what? It's too early.
It will be. It came out 2 years ago. I feel like I'm confident to say, like, this is a fucking classic album. Or, like, when we're dead and gone, people will go back and realize that that's, like, it's better than the Black Album, if we're going to be real. Okay? So, like, if it's better than the Black Album, that means it's classic. So I think Jay-Z has
honestly, I do not consider Black Album. I do not consider Black Album.
Wait. Let's get back to the whole Nas thing, because we don't, like, just sort of.
No. I was using Jay-Z as an example. So if Jay-Z has 3 or 4, you're saying Nas just has 1 with Illmatic?
I don't think Jay-Z has 3 classic albums. I think.
But you're saying Kendrick has 3, though. That's wild.
No. I'm saying that people would argue. I wouldn't say that. I'm not saying it. I'm just that people would argue today that people would call those classics. For me, we have to give it time. Classic. The word classic is timeless, stands the test of time.
This has to be an argument that we get rid of in the first episode if we're going to keep doing this. Like, what is a classic album then?
A classic album for me, first of all, pretty much perfect. So it has to be amazing. Stand the test of time. Where 10, 20, 30 years time, you can put the album on and it can still remain relevant, and it still hits almost in a similar way that it hits when it's first released. Which is why I need to listen to Reasonable Doubt again. Blueprint is a classic album. I need to listen to the Black Album again. I'm not ready just to say Black, Reasonable Doubt are classics. I need to listen to those things again. Reasonable Doubt is a bloody good album. Black has a lot of hits. Blueprint is a bona fide classic. I need to listen to those 2 again. For me, with Nas, Illmatic is a total classic. Other ones, I just think they're amazing. Really. So It Was Written, Lost Tapes, amazing albums, not classics.
Tosin, so how would you define classic album?
Okay. It shouldn't be, like, outdated in terms of, sound or lyrics, which gives to the timelessness thing. And then it has to be cohesive. I don't agree that it has to be perfect. For example, this is a different genre, but like Nevermind by Nirvana. People call that a classic, but there are skippable records on that album. You know, it doesn't just because it doesn't need to be perfect to be a classic, but also I would say like impact on the culture, the genre itself.
Yeah.
So yeah, like definitely Illmatic definitely hits that criteria. But you know, man, honestly, I can't front, man. Over these last couple of minutes, I'm starting to think Double H is right, man. Nas might just have one classic. Like, that's crazy.
Like, listen to those albums.
See, guys, look. Like, if you're in university and the person next to you, and you're not using like plus minuses, and the person next to you gets a 90 and you get a 100, you both get an A. But there's a difference between a 100 and a 90, but you're both still considered an A. So judging Nas by his 100 and saying it was written, it's only a 91, so it's not like Illmatic, therefore it's not classic. That's a false equivalent. It was written.
The reason why I don't see it was written as like I'm starting to sway, like because it's 50-50 on if it's a classic or not. You look at other albums within that subgenre, like you wouldn't say it was written was better than Reasonable Doubt or
Doggy Style,
Cuban Links, or I would say Doggy Style. Yeah, that's tough.
Doggy
Style is a classic. Doggy Style is actually a classic. Yeah, that's
Doggy Style is a classic. Stop it.
Yeah, I agree. So it's hard, man. Like especially when you compare to the albums that came out around that time. Would Nas's album have been top 5 that year? Do you think so? Like I don't think it would have been. Like, am I wrong? Like,
you guys need to listen to It Was Written again.
It was written is insane, bro. The message, like I gave you power. Like
it is
Black
so
Girl Lost. It's
good.
Insane.
It's just not Illmatic. Therefore, people are like because like
that's
okay. It was written. Okay, I'll give you some albums right now.
Wait, guys. See, this is the issue. I'm going to see what. Classic, in my view, I don't know how you guys think about me. Classic is it's almost similar to one I call like the Horseman or Chief Oga saying that this you have to earn that thing of a classic because I want a very small exclusive group for it to be classic.
You know what?
But basically, that's why I don't like your example of 90% and 100% and I said 90. No, I don't like that example. And I don't also want it to be like, oh my gosh, you have to get 100% to be a classic. I think classic is a thing of where almost once you hear it's like, nah, this is it's special. It's special.
That's the thing.
I got it.
Wait, just one thing, Dan. Like it shouldn't be on like your personal opinion.
I was just about to say that.
Yeah, exactly. Like personally for you, maybe you feel it's a classic, but I don't think from a consensus standpoint, like look at the albums that came out that year. You had Beats, Rhymes, and Life. You had Atillions. You had Hell on Earth, All Eyes on Me.
For purposes of this podcast, and this is something that Skip Bayless says about like Hall of Famers. So God forgive me for quoting Skip Bayless, but he's like, if he has to think about it, you're not a Hall of Famer. Like a Hall of Famer should just be. And if I need to say, oh, he could have done this, he could have done that, she should have done this, she should have done that, then you're not a Hall of Famer. So for purposes of this podcast, if we have to think, is that a classic? Should it be a classic? If he did this, is it classic? Then it's not a classic. So for Illmatic, all of us can think. We don't have to think about it. It just is.
No one thinks about it. Exactly.
Right. But before it is written, we can have a debate as for the last 10 minutes of is it not. So if we have to have the is it not conversation after we listen to it, it's not classic. So I guess that could be the consensus that we come to.
Yeah, no, I think that's actually perfect. So I did say I was going to mention Uchi Wali Wali, Uchi Bang Bang. For me, this was the lowest point in Nas's career. And I remember, you know what? The room I'm sitting in is the room that I first watched the music video with my brother. And it literally didn't compute. Because I was the same guy who came in with this very introspective, philosophical thing in Illmatic, and what? Look, shout out to the women in the video. The women in the video were bloody amazing. I said, wait a minute, this makes no sense. And this goes back to the point I'm making. You can't make an album like ILLMATIC and make a song and it makes video like Uchi Wale, Uchi Bang, but it makes no sense. Like
he got in kept.
Wait, seriously, I get that people are human beings and we all have different stuff within us. What's it called? People say like Tupac had like split personality disorder and everything. So I get that there are many facets to a human being, but for Nas, this is why I don't think Nas realized the kind of album that he made. I think for Nas, he felt like, yeah, I made a pretty damn good debut album. Now let me just keep on figuring out myself and see what else that I can do. And I don't know whether it's a case of Nas not knowing how important that album was, or what I think the hip-hop community not really giving that album the credit it deserved. Because I think if the hip-hop community truly actually said, no, this is a true work of high art, then Nas will be like, oh, I did something pretty damn amazing, which means that I now have a responsibility to carry on this whole ILLMATIC thing that everyone in the hip-hop community has said is a godly piece of work. But because it wasn't really held to that really high regard, he was like, yeah, I just made an amazing album. Now let me just do other stuff now. So...
Do you know what's really interesting to that point is that the record came out 25 years ago, exactly, basically, in 1994. It took it until 2001 to get platinum.
Yeah.
Like in the 90s, like that's a really long time. Like, what is that, 7 years almost? 6.5 years for that album to become platinum? So I think you might have a point that like it probably wasn't supported in the way that it should have been, and then Nas had to kind of question himself in some ways. Like, should I do what Jay-Z's doing? Should I do what Wu-Tang's doing? What Mobb Deep is doing? Like, should I go that avenue?
He made the decision, man. Like,
yeah, it took him off track.
It wasn't just in his music too. It was like in his management. Oh yeah, sorry. It was in his like he left MC Search and Faith, whoever, and he went straight to Steve Stout and Trackmasters, and from then on, like, he went into the mafioso thing. Then he kind of like got encapsulated by the whole bling era. That's why totally we're like Uchi Wale is indescribably bad. Like
it's no. Like in 2019, almost 2020, it's hilarious. It's like
this nigga got bodied on a record by Horse, like a dude named Horse. Like bro,
isn't that the Jay-Z bar where he was like, your bodyguard?
Yeah, your bodyguard bodied you out your old song. Like.
And then give me shine, and then it's the body, and then Uchi bang bang, met the money. Oh my god!
The beat, low key is amazing.
Yeah. They be using it, bro. Like Flex be using that
bro,
shit.
No. If you listen to, I think J. Cole did a verse over it recently, like within the past year or two. Incredible! Like, you could have done something way better than that hook and that content, which is one of the most disgusting, overtly sexual nonsense songs I think has ever been made in hip hop.
But see, guys, that is why that Jay-Z Takeover track cut so deep.
We will get to Blueprint, bro.
No.
Blueprint?
Yeah. That's a whole different one.
That is an hour-long conversation. Just break it down.
Exactly.
Because I'm not talking about Takeover. It's just that, just take what he said. The issue with Nas, that let's try and really critique his career. As I said, it was written isn't a classic. It's a really good album. It's not a classic. When you look at his discography, what you did in ILLMATIC, I'm sorry, that guy that made ILLMATIC, the kind of career he has had is not the kind of career that I expected of a guy that made ILLMATIC. So when all is said and done, which is why he is still living off ILLMATIC, because the crazy thing is this. People will say, same thing that people say about Lauryn Hill, that wait, Lauryn Hill has already made one album. Why is she held at such regard? Because the album is one of the best albums of all time. So for Nas, you can do Uchi Wale, you can do this. When you do an ILLMATIC, people will always give you 4, 5, 6, 7 chances, because they're like, okay, fine, Nas has fallen off. We're just waiting for you to come back.
Can we talk about just the harsh reality?
I'll just say this though. I'll say this though. Like for all of the, the shit that you give Nas. I'll still say like 91 to 96 Nas. Even like if we say it was written wasn't a classic, I would still say in 96 when he was rapping, like he was still the best rapper in the world.
100%. Yes, he was.
He was like, bro, like some of those cuts, like shootouts, live nigga rap, like, whew.
But I think we have to really discuss, maybe not at depth, but just as a general concept, the idea that you get your whole life essentially to write your first album. You know what I mean? So that first album is generally going to be your best. So you see Jay with Reasonable Doubt. He had 26 years to create Memories and write that one. You had Nas who had 19, albeit it's not that long, but he had a long time to prepare that album and let it go. But then 94, 96, I think I Am came out in 99. Like the turnaround is short relatively to the 20 years you get to write. So
no, you see, that's a fair point, 100%. As in, like, wow, my first album, I can put everything into it. But when I listen to that guy rapping in Illmatic, just as you said yourself, he left us wanting more after It Ain't Hard to Tell. There was more to come after Illmatic.
It came with, it was written. It's just that the turnaround time, he didn't get 20 years to write It Was Written. He got 3 or 2.
No, look, that's it. The issue I'm having is that the follow-up to Illmatic, I don't think we ever had. We did not get the proper follow-up to Illmatic. It's in Hard to Tell. We didn't get the proper.
So you wanted It Was Written to start out with like a PYT sample?
No. Not in literal terms, but I just felt that based on just what he was doing in Illmatic, how he was rapping, psychological and everything. Look, as Tosin said, if he had stayed with MC Search and that crew, we don't get an It Was Written. I think Steve Stout being the executive producer on that, he took him in a whole different kind of direction. I felt if he had still stayed with MC Search, stay in that pocket, stay in that mind frame, stay in that universe, in that galaxy, and give us a expansion in the Illmatic.
We would have got. I say we would have gotten It Was Written. I would say it was more like the Nostradamus, I Am, when like the Hate Me Now, like those records. Like, that's when Nas was like, teetering on the edge. Like I'd say that at that point, that's when we were like, man.
Wait. Can I just ask? So, It Was Written. Is that give me the track list of It Was Written.
I have it on
message,
my phone.
bro. It was written.
It's solid. It is like a good 8.5 out of 10. Like it's not 10 out of 10 like this one. But let me pull
fake
it up.
Love, fake thug, no love. You get
because there's one amazing track.
Okay, you have, and you're probably thinking of I Gave You Power, but the Message, Street Dreams, dope. I Gave You Power, dope. Watch Them Niggas, dope. Taking the Blood, dope. Nas Is Coming, dope. Affirmative Action with the AZ feature. I think Cormega's in that one.
Foxy Brown's terrible math in that record.
What's next? Track 9, The Setup. Interesting, not great. Black Girl Lost. I love Black Girl Lost.
No, the setup is insane. Oh, is that what he raps about? Like he's about to, one of his mans got popped, and then he's rapping in the perspective where he calls up his homeboys because they're about to set up a.
I can't play it obviously because we'll get copyright strike. But which is the one? No, that's in Lost Tapes, I think. Suspect, Shootouts, Live Nigga Rap, and then If I Ruled the World. It's 14 tracks.
You see, great.
Less than an hour. This is a solid album, and I can see why people like myself would call it classic.
Lupe Fiasco, Schoolboy Q, they all call it
classic. There's maybe 3 missteps on this album.
The first one you just said was solid. The first one said, this is a solid album. You didn't say
because we're comparing it to Illmatic, so I can't be like, oh, it's exactly the same.
Oh, okay.
But there's like maybe 3 missteps out of 14, whereas I would say Illmatic had 1. But as we've talked, I guess it wasn't so much a misstep because it seems quite deliberate in the way that they sequenced the album.
So let's just round things off, just to round, because this has been a damn good. Look, we could go on for about another 50 minutes on the bloody.
We could, yeah.
So just impact on Illmatic. What kind of impact do you think that the album made as an album with regards to rap and Nas rap? What kind of lasting impact do you think the album achieved?
I'll let Tosin go. I've talked a lot.
Man, I can't. Like,
it's hard to put it in words, isn't it?
Yeah, it's just like I said. Like everyone wants to have an album with no filler, you know, no specific types of songs. Like I said, and just the fact that this birthed a lot of rappers, man. Like, look, Ether, Nas said it. You know, I gave you a style for you to rhyme with. To Jay, like, you know, glad to break bread with the God. Like, name a rapper that I ain't influenced. That this album is that is Illmatic. It's influenced so many MCs that came up, like Clips, you know, Pusha, like just a lot of people. But yeah, just in terms of impact on the culture, on the genre. So, for example, like we were talking about a classic, right? It has to have it shouldn't be outdated by lyrics or sound. Check. Impact on culture, genre. Check. The personal nostalgia part. Check. Cohesive. Check. It just checks all the boxes. All of it. So yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say on that.
Daddy?
No, I just think the production is incredible. Just the idea that we're just gonna go around New York and just get the best producers. And they're gonna give the hot prospect like I think at that time Nas was considered like he is going to be the greatest. It was like this album is like seeing Ronaldo, OG Ronaldo in 97, 98 Barcelona. Like this is like that guy. Or was it 97, 96? I always get the dates mixed up. Or it's like seeing Mbappe now. Like it's like this kid is going to be the greatest. Yeah. So for me to be on his album, I have to be on his album by hook or by crook. The fact that it's minimal features, which normally means I have a lot to say. I don't want people in this trying to take verses from me. The one verse he gets from AZ is arguably, in my opinion, the greatest feature of all time. Like just the album, the way it's set up itself is just impeccable. And then once you get into the impact on culture, as you say, I gave you a style. Like so many people have tried to mimic it, from the album cover to just everything about it. I just think it's seminal, I guess would be the word. Yeah. And there's one little thing I have with it, but you know, sometimes exceptions prove rules. Like, you know.
And one time for you might go hard, bro.
Just to round it off for myself, for me, I feel like, again, I listen to many albums. And most albums I listen to, I'm like, okay, skip. Okay, skip. Oh, all right, skip. Skip. This is one of those albums where from the moment you press play, you have to play the whole thing through. Like, I don't go to Illmatic and be like, okay, I want to listen to All These Years. I want to listen to Insane How to Tell. No, I listen to the album. And
yes,
that is a very, because for most rap albums, I'm listening to, okay, track 2, track 7, track 8. All right, I'm done. Or maybe I'll just take track 8, track 7, and just put it on my playlist. But I'm not listening to the album. But this is like, no, I listen to from 1 to 10. And even the font time and everything like that, it all fits in. Because I'm like, okay, I will go on the high, low, cool, boom, great finish. And I just think that, you know what, with regards to impact, I don't believe that anybody in rap understood how to follow what Illmatic did. Hence why even right now, to this day, there's never been a rap album like Illmatic.
To this day.
Okay, there's not like, I think that Nas is like, people will say, oh, like basically, people will say, no, you need like, 3, 4 amazing albums to be like really be put at the top. All you need is one. Nas doesn't need to do anything. When all is said and done, he reached such a pinnacle and a benchmark that it doesn't matter what albums he released. It doesn't matter how many Uchi Wales he has. You did an Illmatic. Something that no rapper, I think that there are rap albums equal to ILLMATIC. There's no rap album that is above ILLMATIC. Like, I need to think of which rap albums are on the same kind of rapping, production, track listing, structure, and everything. Because just even from our conversation, and just thinking about the track listing and everything, I'm not sure there are many rap albums that are perfectly structured and placed like ILLMATIC. I need to think about that a bit more. But yeah,
ILLMATIC is one of, it's just not rap albums. It's just one of the best musical efforts.
Yes, let's say
ever. Like,
let's branch out from rap. It's one of the best albums. Yes.
Just like you could put this against like Marvin Gaye, What's Going On. You could put it against like
Stevie Wonder, Innovision.
Stevie Wonder's like Songs in the Key of Life. Like, you could put it's just a great album.
I know.
It's just one of those, and I forgot to mention this. It gave me like the sample for a sample for my favorite Jay-Z song, so that works too. Like Dead Presidents.
I made it a hot line. I made it a hot
song.
Okay, because like guys, that's been it, man. Look, man, it's been swell. I mean, I think we've been talking for like an hour or so. I don't even know how long we've been talking for, but this
about an hour and a half, I think.
Damn. Okay. And we could have been talking for a long time because trust me, I wasn't even done with bloody Uchiwali and all the crap that now. So, boss, look, man, it's been swell. It's been great. Hope you guys enjoy this. Please in the comments below, tell us what you think about this. What other albums you want us to do next week, and we'll see you guys next week for another classic album that we'll be dissecting, just like this one. So
yo. Also, give us suggestions for names of the podcast. Like, what should this podcast be?
Suggestions, yeah. Give us suggestions.
We probably won't listen to you, but we might. So it's worth it.
Okay. All right, guys. It's been swell. Thank you guys for listening to this. We'll see you guys next week. Peace.
Peace.